Hey, what's going on, everyone? So we're gonna be talking about Rome a little bit more. For those who don't know, the No Place Like Rome readathon event is going on, and one of the co-hosts has tagged me to do the When in Rome book tag. Matt over at Best in a Story, and I will leave his link down below. Definitely check it out. It's really cool. Like I said, them putting together a whole reading event based upon reading books that take place either historical, like nonfiction, on like Rome, whether it's ancient or kind of modern or medieval, whatever, and fiction works as well for those who read that sort of thing. I know I've talked about Rome quite a bit recently. I'm going to leave a link up there for my, just 20 Roman history recommendations for people who wanted to participate and that sort of thing. But without further ado, let's just get on with the tag video. So thank you, Matt. And let's get started. All right, so number one. So all the prompts are based on the 7 hills of Rome. So first up, we got the Palatine Hill, where Rome started and where all roads would eventually lead. If you have been to Rome, what was a highlight? Nope, I'm just too poor for that, apparently. Nope, not yet anyways. If you would like to go, what would you like to see? Okay, so I got 2 things. If we're including the Vatican, which is in Rome, I'm going to say the School of Athens painting by Raphael. It's my favorite piece of, like, painted art, I guess. Painted art. My favorite painting, I think, of all time. Which is funny because it's not even like the genre, was it type of painting, genres of paints? I don't know. Style of painting that's actually my favorite. But School of Athens, just, with all the philosophers, just debating and talking and just hanging out is just such a vibe. It's so good. And I believe it is held somewhere in the Vatican. So if it's on display, whatever, I'd like to go see it. Plus, if you look at Plato and Socrates, if you envision them with basketballs, with Aristotle dribbling and Plato spinning on his finger, you'll never unsee it. But anyways, definitely that would be a painting. I would like to also do like an archaeological thing, though I want to go more like to Sicily or Turkey or something. Rome, the city of Rome itself actually doesn't appeal to me like all that much as far as sightseeing and that sort of thing. But yeah, if there's like an archaeological dig I could volunteer at or something, that'd be really cool too. But also one other thing that I do know is held in one of the museums in Rome is my favorite sculpture from the classical world, and it's the Boxer. I'll leave a picture right there too for that one. And this one is a full cast bronze one, which is actually the bronze ones are pretty rare because a lot of them got recast or melted down or however that works and that sort of thing to remake other things. But I don't know, I just really love the Boxer sculpture. I don't know, just something about it. Just learn more about it and you'll like it too, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, those would definitely be the things I would like to go see if I ever get the chance to go to Rome. All right, number 2, the Esquiline Hill. Home of Nero's Golden Palace. It is said that Nero fiddled while Rome burned, except the fiddle was not yet invented. So name a surprising thing you've either learned or unlearned about ancient Rome. All right, so I'm going to go with, let's see, the statue of Nero was built for kind of to go outside the Colosseum and stuff. So I'm gonna go with something gladiatorial. One thing that I've learned that's pretty crazy is they actually had essentially the ancient equivalent of the t-shirt launcher. And during things at the Colosseum and the Circus Maximus and stuff like that, they would literally shoot things into the stands and whatnot. A lot of times it would be little coins that you would actually be able to after the games and stuff, you could go to this little marketplace thing at the stadium essentially trade the coin in for what was represented on the coin, whether it was, I can't remember, there was money, memory, I don't know, I can't remember all the details. It wasn't just money, there were actually artifacts and things you could just trade it in for based on what you actually caught in the stands and stuff. It's pretty crazy. And also that they had awnings and stuff to kind of keep it a little bit shady. It's just a modern stadium to keep out the rain and stuff. It was actually pretty intense. They like their games for sure. All right, number 3, the Capitoline Hill. A2 Brute, what have you read that portrays a terrible betrayal? And bonus points for ancient world betrayals. All right, so we're going with ancient world betrayals. For the first one, if we're sticking in ancient Rome, I got 2 from the same thing. So Punic Wars, which is my favorite topic in history. We're gonna show these books some more. I got a whole Punic War shelf here. Obviously Hannibal, Scipio Africanus are the 2 big players there on each of the sides. But as far as betrayals go, both of them essentially have to leave their homeland in exile. Scipio gets he gets up for like trumped up charges on embezzlement or something like that, and he just like voluntarily just leaves Rome and doesn't go back. And then Hannibal, the aristocracy doesn't really like how he's kind of helping out the poor people of Carthage. After he's a general, he kind of is I forgot, a suffet. I can't remember if it's a judge or suffet. It's one of the highest things in ancient Carthage as far as like administration and stuff. And they didn't like that he was taking fiscal policy so seriously. He actually was like able to pay the Roman indemnity actually really early, but Rome said like, no, we want you to like just keep like paying installments so you're under our thumb. But like I said, Hannibal was pretty like austere with that sort of thing. And yeah, like I said, the merchant class did not like that. And they were about to hand him over to the Romans, so he fled in exile as well. So I feel like that's a betrayal on both of them. So it's a pretty weird thing too, like how both of them were essentially like kind of the big figures from the Punic Wars. And another ancient one that really makes me mad, 'cause I don't like Alexander the Great. You know, it's always like debates about Caesar and Alexander and stuff. So anytime I can cast shade on Alexander, I'm going to. He's got 2 kills that are pretty betrayals. First we got Parmenion, who was one of his head generals, and he was a general under Philip. You know, held the flank at Gaugamela. Everything was kind of like, you know, I want to say he was kind of like, I don't know, I gotta stay a little bit more. He's kind of always portrayed as the foil to like Alexander, as far as like, you know, being kind of the more cautious, defensive, stalwart kind, when Alexander's the more, you know, brash and courageous front line, you know, diving into the enemy ranks and that kind of thing. But anyways, Parmenion, like, you know, held the flank at Gaugamela, letting like Alexander be able to do his cavalry charge and everything like that. But essentially, Alexander was finding ways to off the entire like generation of Philip's guys. Essentially, you know, the older strategois above him, not above him, but the strategist or strategois is the Greek term, ancient Greek term for generals and stuff, that were during like his father's time, and he was kind of replacing them with his own cadre of like younger people. But it was Parmenion's son, you know, may have like been talking about some sort of assassination or something along those lines. So, you know, Alexander, you know, nips that and assassinates Parmenion and his family first. I'm like, Parmenion was like literally governing a town like a couple hundred miles away and stuff. Obviously, he had like no contact with them and everything. I don't know. To me, it's pretty sketchy all around. But also, Clytus the Black, when he murders Clytus the Black himself during a banquet. Clytus the Black actually saved, I can't remember if it was the Battle of the Granicus River. Anyways, Clytus the Black, in one of the early major battles against the Persians, literally saves Alexander's life. When a Persian's about to like strike him down, Clytus sliced off like the arm of the Persian and stuff. Like when Alexander like wasn't looking and everything. But during like a banquet, they both kind of got drunk. Alexander was probably like completely wasted. You know, words were exchanged and people tried to like separate them, and I don't know, Clytus kept like grumbling about, you know, just stuff. Like, you know, maybe he was like a little bit out of line talking to like the king like that or whatever. But Alexander gets like all like pissed off, takes a javelin from like one of the guards and throws it at him and kills him. Just kills him like that. And it's like, and then he obviously like regrets it like the next day and stuff. But yeah, that's a horrible betrayal. That was the longest tangent ever. But there's your history lesson for the day. All right, where are we? That was the Cabal for the Aventine Hill, where the plebs lived. From their struggle came some noble ideas. What is your favorite work of literature from ancient Rome? Let's see, my favorite actual work that's come down to us is probably the history of Polybius. Partially because it covers the Punic Wars and stuff, but he's basically the Roman Republican era version of Thucydides. So it's just really good history, but also kind of looking at the big picture and looking at the real causes and not just like the events themselves, and kind of doing like an actual historian's kind of analysis of the events and what was causing them and the background and context and all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of interesting too because he was a Greek who was essentially like an aristocratic hostage when some of the Greek towns were taken over. But he kind of like ingratiates himself and becomes friends with Scipio's like adopted grandson and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just a really good history work. I encourage you guys to read what's come down to us. Alright, 5, the Kalian Hill, where the rich people. What is your richest or favorite resource about ancient Rome? Now, Matt talked about the great courses from the teaching company. I'll second that, but I'm trying to think, maybe not perhaps the richest or like the best one that I've ever come across, but one that's really fun actually is numismatics, which is like the study of ancient coins. And we've actually been able to glean quite a bit of different things about different emperors and different time periods of like Roman history, just based on like what's depicted and said and the positioning of different coins and stuff. I find it really, I don't know, just like really interesting, and a lot of history books will kind of add them as like part of it. I think I had one book, I want to say I do have one. I can't remember if I read it. I think I read it, or one of a similar book to this. This is Roman History from Coins by Michael Grant, back in college. And I remember that was actually a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be. So also that's like a fun one. Number 6, the Quirinal Hill, the highest hill with the best views. What's your favorite novel or work set in Rome? Like I said, I'm gonna just pick anything on the Punic Wars. Like the 3 I just popped up there were probably my favorites. I think this one, Mastering the West by Dexter Hoyos, Rome and Carthage Wars, probably my favorite. But pretty much anything on the Punic Wars, I just feel like there's a lot going on. You got so much drama. You got, Hannibal crossing the Alps, fighting in Italy for like 10 or 12 years. You got, Marcellus. You got all kinds of Fabius, you got all kinds of different, just kind of big name characters kind of going on. Obviously Scipio, a little bit later on. I just feel like there's a lot going on. Plus there's a lot of theaters. Like Italy actually itself kind of becomes more like the sideshow after the first like 5 or 6 years. The remaining like 12 years is mostly like Spain and then Africa. So I just feel like it's just a good coverage of kind of that era of the world. I don't know. I just really enjoy it. And then I'm just trying to think of like TV shows and movies and stuff. There's quite a few good ones, and one that's kind of silly. It's got a lot of inaccuracies, but I just really like it, and I feel like even though it was pretty inaccurate at times, I just feel like the vibe was actually there. The vibe for like how I feel ancient Rome might actually kind of feel like, if that makes sense, was actually the Spartacus TV shows. If you don't mind blood and gore and sex and stuff in your shows, definitely give those ones a look. I think there's like a new spin-off after like literally like a decade or something is coming out as well, like in the next year or so. So anyways, I'll go with that one. And all right, number 7 here, the Viminal Hill, the smallest of the hills. So we'll go with a motto or a slogan from ancient Rome. So your favorite Latin saying. All right, so here's my shameless plug for my Etsy shop if you guys want to see. This is actually probably one of my favorite quotes. And I just realized too when I was looking at some of the other videos, it gets washed out. I have to see if I can find like a better way to like kind of present the signs and stuff, or it's not like so bright and everything like that. But this one is Inveniam viam aut faciam, which is a saying where I'll either find a way or make one, and it's like one of my favorite quotes of all time. Supposedly Hannibal says this when he's crossing the Alps, and during like, on one of the mountain passes, they're blocked by boulders and stuff, and his engineers come back and go, yeah, we don't know what to do or whatever, and Hannibal says that I'll either find a way or make one. I just find it really good. Even if he didn't say it, the story's really good. I don't know, I just really enjoy it. A lot of other people seem to as well. So there you have it. Thank you so much, Matt, for tagging me in this video. Yeah, I've got a couple tags actually coming up. I got the nature one. I got a couple others I got to do that I've been tagged. So I'm going to I'm going to be starting more Tag Tuesdays for sure. If there's any tag videos that you specifically want to hear my answers for, leave some comments down below as well. And I encourage all of you to do this tag as well. And I think I wrote down some people that I'm going to be tagging. So I'm going to be tagging all of the Historathon co-hosts. I'm not one of them, but I've been talking with a lot of them on like their Discord channel and stuff. And the next couple of videos, or tag videos, I've kind of like plotted out pretty much all the co-hosts there to do a tag and stuff, just because I feel like some of these history ones would fit really good. So I'm going to tag Erica over at Passage of Time, Vin from Revenant Revenant Reads, Peg from the History Shelf, Mariana from Mariana Moss Books. So I'm going to tag those 4 people. I really encourage you all to check out their channels. They got really cool nonfiction. If you like nonfiction, I think you'll really enjoy, particular history, you'll really enjoy their channels and content. So there you have it. This was my When in Rome tag. Like I said, I went on a couple tangents, but thank you so much if you stuck with me for this long. But always remember, whatever you're reading, whether it's on Rome or not, read victoriously.